All right, both of y'all are being very noisy right now. Quiet on set. Hello, you adventurous and bright koala. Welcome back to the Collective Practice Podcast. I'm Lauren Spalding, and this is a podcast for mental health entrepreneurs where we talk about business skills, clinical skills, and mental health. And welcome to today's episode. Today, I wanted to cover 3 time management skills that successful entrepreneurs use to ensure that they stay productive and don't fall into procrastination or busy work. And those 3 things are: assign focus to each day, break down your days by the hour, and have a brain dump. So let's talk about assigning focus to each day. Now, this is a very popular time management tool that people use when they work for themselves, because you are creating your own schedule and you're determining your hours in the day. It allows you to bring some structure to your day, and it keeps you on task even when things pop up throughout the day, whether someone's emailing you or calling you, or you have some unexpected thing on your to-do list. So when you think about assigning your days, I want you to consider 4 categories. The first being your big picture days. This is going to be those tasks that are focused on moving your business forward, whether that's marketing, competitor research, updating your website, whatever that might be. You want to have one day set aside that's designated for that. And oftentimes that day is called the CEO day. The second category you want to consider is having a small task day. This could be things like purchasing a URL. This could be emailing someone about a conference, or it could be doing some of your own research. Whatever small tasks come up throughout your calendar month, you would put them on small task days each week, because those tasks are important. But sometimes we over prioritize those and we tend to lose sight of the other things in our business. The third category I recommend having is a clinical day. Now, this is a day completely focused on clinical clients' tasks. That is things like notes. So if you are behind on notes, like I like to try to do my notes in between clients, but of course that doesn't always happen. So I have a day of the week where I know I'm going to focus on notes and I'm going to get all my notes for that week done. If I'm looking into resources or referrals for people, that's the day that's going to be focused on that. If I'm looking into advanced trainings or anything to do with my clinical skills, that's all assigned on one day of the week. And then the fourth category you want to consider, if you have any type of social media presence, is a content creation day. This is going to be very helpful to not get too caught up in creating something fresh every day or every week. If you have one day set aside where you are recording multiple episodes or making multiple posts and scheduling them, it's going to help content creation feel a lot more streamlined and a lot more doable. I also, as a bonus, recommend scheduling rest into your calendar. So having a personal day or a rest day set aside every week where you promise to yourself you are not going to do anything work related, not even check your phone or email. And I think that's really important to have in your calendar to give your brain and your body some time to just rest and relax from a stressful week. And it's really helpful to just kind of reset and rejuvenate. And that's going to help you keep energy going and flowing as you run your business, rather than falling into this trap of feeling like you're constantly sprinting and then burning out, and then sprinting and then burning out. Now, of course, this is not a perfect system. There are going to be months that are going to pull focus to certain things. For example, right now, I have a really, really busy April where just a lot of things overlapped and fell into the same month. And so I had to really rethink my April calendar, and I'm having to have different focus. But I will say having my days assigned has helped me to figure that out and to really help calm the initial overwhelming feeling when I looked at my calendar for April. So when I started out with assigning days, I started this at the end of last year. So I opened my business in October, And I probably started assigning my days in like late November or December. And the way that I scheduled my days was I had Monday as my CEO day, Tuesday as my clinical day, Wednesday as content creation, and Thursdays as my small tasks day. Now, initially, that really worked well for me because I noticed I was coming into the week with a lot of energy and a lot of excitement for my business. So having Monday to really put that energy towards something was really great. Having Thursday as small tasks felt really good because things would accrue throughout the week and I would just dump it onto Thursday and know that I would get to it that day if I wasn't able to get to it the day of. And that felt really good to end my week, just tying up loose ends and making sure that everything was done. I then put aside Fridays for personal days where I don't even see clinical clients on Fridays. I would just focus on resting or on taking care of myself or connecting with friends or even networking a little bit. Now, for a while, that worked really well for me, but as I went into this year, it worked for January fine. February was kind of off. I felt like that my assigned days weren't working well. I recognized some tasks that were falling off my calendar and feeling a little bit overwhelmed by looking ahead and knowing that April is going to be very busy for me. And there's just a lot more going on this year than last year for my business, which is a great thing. But I have to make sure that my calendar is working for me. So I changed my calendar temporarily to be Monday through Friday, and I took away that Friday personal day because I was recognizing that while I have a fuller calendar of clients, switching out of that clinical role with my clients and into big picture tasks was a little too much for me. It's just such a different energy, and both feel like very dominant energies to me. And so I would get really caught up in this big picture thing and then be like, oh, I've got a client in 10 minutes. And I would find myself struggling to kind of shift into a different role for my business. So my current calendar looks like Mondays are small tasks, Tuesdays are content creation days, and that gives me a day to record and edit if I'm behind. Wednesdays are my clinical days, Thursdays are another small task day, and Fridays are my CEO days. And the reason I share how my calendar is changing and growing with me is to just kind of share with you this experience of being an entrepreneur where even as we do our best to be steady in our business and to try to not overwork ourselves, there just are sometimes months or weeks that are just very jam-packed with things. And it serves us better to give more space to our work than less. And I do remind myself that this is temporary, that coming into the summer, I'm hoping that Friday can go back to being a personal day, or that I could change another day during the week to be a personal day. I'm not really sure what that's going to look like, but I'm being open to it, and I'm really listening to what my needs are as a therapist, as an entrepreneur, and as a person. The second time management skill that I encourage you to try out is to break down your days by the hour, because I am pretty sure as I'm talking about scheduling your days, you're thinking, okay, but how do I fit this in between clients? And of course, our clients are the number one priority in our practice. That's what we do. That's why we are a mental health entrepreneur, so that we can help people and we can support them. And so you don't want these necessarily getting in the way of your clinical schedule. And so what you would do is you would look at how many clients you have that day. So let's say we're looking at tomorrow, and tomorrow you've got 4 clients. Let's say you've got a 10 a.m., an 11 a.m., a 2 p.m., and a 3 p.m. So that gives you a 2-hour lunch in between. So actually writing out those hours and then putting aside 30 minutes or an hour for your lunch, then write out what tasks you have for that day. What tasks have you assigned for this month or this week? And put one aspect of that task on in that extra hour or hour and a half that you have in between clients. So let's say right now your goal is to create your website and really ramp up your online presence. Now, a lot of times we get trapped in this idea of, well, I've got to do it all at once. I want to start it and I want to finish it, or I at least want to get really far in working on it. But that's not very doable for the way our calendars work, for how we have clients scheduled by the hour. And whether we acknowledge it or not, our days are broken down hour by hour. So instead of waiting until you have a large enough gap to work on your website, break down what all is involved in creating a website. Your first task is probably going to do some research. Which web hosts are you going to use? What pages do you want on your website page? Maybe you do some competitor research and you look at therapy practices that you really admire their online content, or you admire their website, and kind of see how they set up what they do. You want to buy your URL. You want to watch tutorials on how to set up your website. You then maybe want to set up your homepage. There's all of these little tasks that go in. So let's say tomorrow you're looking at your calendar, you've got your 3 clients, you've got that 2-hour lunch break, and let's say that you work for 2 more hours after that last client. So that gives you 3 tasks that you can accomplish. I recommend assigning 1 task per hour slot. That way, you're not overextending yourself, because you can always add tasks later. So let's say for tomorrow for your website, during that 1-hour block after your lunch, you're going to purchase your URL. And during the 2 hours after your last client, you're going to watch a tutorial on how to set up your website. Now you are 2 steps closer to your goal, rather than feeling like you're constantly behind on your goals because you're constantly waiting for that gap day or for energy on the weekend to accomplish this task. And the final time management tip is to have a brain dump, whether that's on your phone, in your planner, on your computer, wherever feels good to you. You want to have some space designated for where you can just jot down ideas and to-do list items that pop into your mind but don't necessarily need any focus right now. It's helpful to have 2 different brain dump pages is what I think. I have one plain brain dump page. It's just an empty page, and I just jot down like ideas or things I want to look into on that page in my planner or my bullet journal. And then I also have a brain dump to-do list. It's like a running to-do list. And I actually this year broke that down into those categories. So is it a small task, a big picture task, a clinical task, or a personal task? So that's really been helpful to me to make sure I'm providing energy to all aspects of my business and I'm not getting way too focused on one thing. But if you don't use a paper planner, just use the Notes app in your phone and just brain dump there. Have OneNote set up as work brain dump, and that's where you can just throw ideas or throw goals or to-do list items there, just so that you don't forget and you know that you'll come back to it each month as you think through what you're going to accomplish in that upcoming month. So there you go. Those are 3 time management skills that are really going to help you have a productive and not overwhelming year. I hope that you begin to implement these and that you find them to be helpful. And be sure to check out all the other ways I support you. Follow my social medias, check out my bullet journal videos. It's a really, really helpful way of journaling as far as using a planner and letting it be very customizable to your needs. And be sure to sign up for my free masterclass. The link's in the bio. I talk about branding, social media marketing, and business planning. So I go a bit more in depth on what we talked about today. Thanks so much for spending some time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. As we wind down from this episode, take a moment to reflect on your key takeaways. How can you care for your business and yourself this week? Don't forget, you are awesome and worthy of a hugely successful career. I hope to help you and support you along the way. I'll see you in the Collective Practice Facebook group and in the masterclass. Visit laurenspalding.co for more details. Talk to you soon, friend.